All right, Chair Strickland, you are now live and can start your meeting.
Good evening. I call to order the April 22nd, 2021 Homeless Committee meeting at 6:30 p.m. Due to the state of emergency declared by Governor Newsom, this public body is authorized to meet virtually. At this time, I would now call on Pastor Lusk to read an invocation.
Pastor Lusk, okay, here he is. Pastor Lusk, you now have the floor to lead us in invocation.
All right, thank you. I do apologize for my tardiness. I have another meeting going on right now, but let us pray. Father God, we thank you right now for the day that you would allow us to have, Lord, as we, the Homeless Commission, comes together to meet. We ask that you would search their hearts and their minds and give them a focus and direction of a heart of compassion to meet the needs of our community and those that are less fortunate in our community. We thank you now for the new president. Lord, we ask that all those that are there would gird around him, protect him, give him some guidance and support. And we thank you for our mayor and our city council and all of those that work for our city, the beautiful city of Seaside. May God bless us and keep us. Amen.
Amen. Commissioner Mancini, would you be able to lead the committee in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ben, I don't believe Marilyn is on yet.
Okay, I can lead us in the pledge, right?
She's on now.
Commissioner Mancini, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Hon? Hello? Hello?
Hello. Commissioner Mancini, would you be able to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Go ahead. I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United
I pledge
States of
allegiance.
America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Oh, there you are.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all. It's all yours, hon.
I don't even know.
You're up here.
I know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. City Clerk, would you be able to please read the roll call?
I don't know what's wrong, what went wrong, but we had a thing in.
Yes. Commissioner Stacy Feast.
Here.
Commissioner Leslie Mugen.
Here.
Commissioner Gwen Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Lynda Cunningham.
Here.
Commissioner Marilyn Mancini.
Here.
And Chair Benjamin Strickland.
Here.
Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, City Clerk. And now at this time, it's public comment. Members of the public wishing to address the commission on matters within the jurisdiction of the city of Seaside, but not on this agenda, may do so during the public comments period for up to 3 minutes. Public comments on specific agenda items are heard under that item. For the public record, please state your name. The clerk will provide instructions on how you can be identified for public comment.
Members of the public wishing to make public comment, please use the raise your hand feature or dial *9 if you're on the phone. Chair, at this time, there are no members of the public that are wishing to make comments.
Very well. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the February 25th, 2021 meeting. Does the commission have any questions? Are there any comments from members of the public about the previous minutes?
Members of the public, if you wish to make public comment on this item, please use the raise your hand feature or dial *9. for comments on approval of the February 25th minutes. Chair, there are no members of the public that have indicated that they wish to make public comment at this time.
I'd like to open this up for discussion. Are there any comments on the minutes by the commissioners? May I make a comment? I just noticed that my name wasn't in there on attendance, and I do believe I was at that last meeting on February.
Ben, I'll make sure I make that change. I apologize.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to make a motion for approval of the minutes.
I second.
I'd like to move it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 The ayes have it.
Chair, we'll need to do a roll call vote since it's a virtual meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Stacy Feist,
Aye.
Commissioner Leslie Mugen,
I approve.
Commissioner Gwen Nash, Commissioner Gwen Nash. It looks like she may have dropped off. Maybe she'll be able to reconnect. Commissioner Marilyn Mancini
Aye.
and Chair Benjamin Strickland.
Aye.
All right, your motion passes.
Okay. Moving along, our next agenda item is presentations. So we have a presentation from Seaside High School student Jean-Luc Madrid regarding accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, concept of low carbon compact mobile ADUs. So I would like to introduce our guest speaker, Jean-Luc Madrid.
Hello, thanks for having me tonight.
Thank
I
you.
worked hard on these presentations for a while. Do I just share my screen right now?
Yes, if you could, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right. Can you see this?
Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna begin the presentation. So throughout the state, there's been many small, low square feet, accessory dwelling units. They're smaller versions of houses, and they're a cheap alternative to the main housing market because it's been so expensive throughout the state. And there's just they're cheaper to make too, and they can be prefabricated, and they can, once they're structurally safe, they could be recreated on a bigger scale. And this could be, I feel, an important part for the homeless committee, because we're a more smaller town, and I think that a smaller, more affordable solution is something that up our alley. So the Tiny Houses Project in Los Angeles was founded by Elvis Summers. He focused on tiny mobile homes that cost around $1,200 to make around 2016 up to today. Each of the tiny houses had their own window, alarm system, smoke detector, solar panel for collecting energy, charging station, light, and a camper's toilet. And so his project was a motivation for change. So this is a solar panel on the roof, and it's connected through the ADU, and it's able to connect a light bulb, and they can even use a solar home system for USB, so they can use chargers or computers, whatever they need to power their devices. And here we see that these houses are small, but they're much more better than the tents you see all around the state or in town locally, and shopping carts. And this is the fire alarm system they have, and the wheels are lockable, so they can be moved around and put on land that is public owned by the city, and like from donors like local churches or other like good Samaritans, if you will. So they also have a lock and alarm system if someone attempts to break in. And these were primarily built by volunteers and Elvis Summers himself. So they were intended as a temporary solution to fix the homeless problem, like to help them, but not to fix it entirely. And I think that it would mainly depend on existing programs and ones we need in the future. And they were put on private property throughout Los Angeles back in 2016. Oh, what? Oh, wait. So I think these could serve as an excellent transition method for the fact that they're cheap, effective, compact, and mobile. And overall, in terms of cost, they're a much better solution for tackling homelessness compared to like larger ADU structures that might take more time to build. And I think these types should be used as a temporary solution, or it could be like he said. But if the city thinks it could do it better, that could work. And in the video, it detailed that high school students, college students, volunteers, and people of all ages were helping construct and prepare these tiny ADUs to help in the area of LA. And I think that could be something we could recreate with students from MPC, Seaside High, Monterey High, Marina High that are looking for a good sense of community and belonging, and a way to bring people together while also making a good change. So I feel like these are much safer and more sanitary than the crude tent and shopping cart and rags that are like throughout the town, and it's unsafe for both them and people around. And I think if they have a safe place, it could help them get like resumes and something akin to an address, if you could. Like that's a very important part. Like here we see, so many of them, Elvis Summers helped. They actually found like more. They were able to receive something as simple as letters, court orders, and a place to put their address. That would help them significantly and allow them to find more jobs and open up more to employers and have a safe place to store all their belongings. And I think currently with the pandemic, the danger of transmission should be greatly considered with trained volunteers and supervisors aware of the risk of transmission, with a collaboration of organizations like the AmeriCorps or I think U.S. HomeAway. I don't remember what it's called, but I know it's in our county. So we could use the right PPE, like personal protective equipment, vaccinations, checkups, and regular testing of volunteers. But yeah, and I put the contact information for the actual tiny house website, and I feel like we should contact them sometime, if that's something we could do. And I have additional stuff if you guys are willing to see this. Could I keep going? I don't want to take up too much time.
Would that be fine to allow it to keep going?
Yes, for a time certain. You want to allow 5 additional minutes?
I'll allow up to 5 additional minutes if that's fine with the commission.
Oh,
Yes,
oh yeah. So, this is more of a design, like that I made myself. I designed it on like a Onshape computer-aided design software. So we could try to recreate what he did. So this is what the camper's toilet is, and a bed. And it's not like, and this is the solar panel. So I also included the lockable wheels so it could be mobile, and I think, yeah. And I'm gonna take off the roof so you can see like the layout. So here we have the camper's toilet, the light that would go above the ceiling, the solar panel, and the bed. This is a very small and compact design. And I think that people could be able to, this would be like very helpful for them. It could increase sanitation for both their health and for the sake of the pandemic. Yeah. I give my time to the chair or the committee, the rest of my time.
Thank you, Jean-Luc. I really appreciate you sharing your presentation with us. Do the commissioners have any questions for the presenter?
I'm curious if there was any data or feedback from the government in LA. You said these guys were based in LA. So are folks there feeling like it's actually helping to solve an issue and give an option to folks, or?
Oh, this was done as it was a crowdfunded, so it wasn't done by the city of LA, and they were able to do this with just like private areas and like that was mainly it. It wasn't more of a public thing.
Okay, so there's no reaction from the city then on how it helped her.
There was a reaction from the city of LA, but it was like surprisingly, I thought it was a negative reaction. The police department like took away the houses and like confiscated them.
Okay, thank you.
This is Linda. I'm not quite sure how the camping toilet works. Is it no water? Is it a situation where people would need to be able to grab a bag and throw it away?
I believe that certain camping toilets can use water, but those are more of they have to be refillable and they're more like difficult to dispose. And I think they mainly use as a bag that you would just toss out.
And I have a question as well. So what is allowing that to function? Because I did, if I'm correct, I heard you state something about being sanitized. And so I don't see anything with a hand sink or anything for that as well. So if they have the campus toilet, is it anything that could be done for some type of, like they'd have to fill the bag for water to run through it type thing as well for more sanitization?
I think that we could try to find like a model that makes it so they don't have zero contact with any of the waste, or design one and then just try to like recreate it if we can. Or but yeah, I don't really know that much about the camping toilet.
This is Linda. I wanted to thank you so much for your presentation. It's very heartfelt. And I also am in agreement with you that having a little space that you can put your things in and lock the door, either when you're away or you are inside where you can feel safe, is priceless. I often wonder if I found myself homeless, how long before I would just drink my days away, just out of depression, hopelessness. I think I lose my mind after, I don't even know how long it would take before I lost my mind. Just the constant fear of being attacked. And I can hear your heartfelt desire to help unsheltered people find a little place of shelter to call their own, and how that can turn your life around. And I wanted to thank you for that. And it is a temporary solution, and having a camping toilet to go to the bathroom in, as opposed to finding a bush or a alcove in front of a building, is not the idealist situation, but is definitely by far above the alternative. And I just definitely wanted to thank you for bringing this type of option to us. And I just wanted to make sure I said that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Were there any other questions from the commissioners? I guess my question is, how did you become passionate about this issue?
I mainly just I've just been doing like a lot of ever since my junior year, I was just doing a lot of like schoolwork, and I thought like I should probably do more of like what I know and like give back to the world, like I guess, because I was like reading about like I was reading something and it kind of touched me, and I guess it just snowballed from there.
Thank you very much. At this time, we open it up to public comment, and the clerk will provide instructions on how you can be identified for public comment.
All right, Chair, you do have one member so far, and Alex Miller, you now have the floor to make public comment.
Thank you. This is Alex Miller. I'm the chair of the Neighborhood Improvement Commission, and this is something that Seaside could really benefit from. Having shelter for the homeless and those without homes in this form is something that I highly recommend. And I know that there's some money that we could try to find to move these projects forward, but it would be Seaside taking the lead on homelessness, and having these tiny homes similar to one we just saw in the presentation would greatly help our community. So I'm all for it. Please contact me. I'd love to join and help out in any way I can. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much for your comments. If there's any other members wishing to make public comment at this time, please use the raise your hand or dial *9 if you're on a phone. Chair, there are no other members at this time wishing to make public comment.
Thank you. So our next item on our agenda is to receive, discuss, and provide direction regarding the annual work plan for fiscal year 2020 to 2021 and the creation of the draft of the 2021-2022 work plan. Chief Gutierrez, could you please tell us about this item?
So last year, and many of you were on the commission, you developed an annual work plan dated fiscal year 2020, 2021, and it was adopted on July 23rd. I did send it out after our last meeting, just for us to review. So from what I understand, tonight we can't make decisions on it. Correct, Dominique?
You can make decisions on this item.
Okay. So the chair, if you want to direct us, but I think we should review it. I don't know that we have time tonight, or unless everybody had a chance to review it after I sent it, and to see if anything was accomplished last year or in the fiscal year. We're still in this fiscal year, and our ability to move forward on some of the items, I think, would be important. I know we're going to create new items, but I think it would be important to review the items and see if we've accomplished any of the goals from last year, which was difficult with the COVID and not being able to meet on a regular basis. Did everybody get an opportunity to look at it with your busy schedules?
I was able to review the work plan before the meeting. It looks like we've been pretty on track, like just with the goals and objectives of the commission. I would just like to ask if any of the other commissioners had any input or were able to review the work plan.
And it's understandable if folks didn't. Just looking at the plan, and I don't know if everybody has it in front of them. I have a lot of paper in front of me. But the top item, Mr. Chair, was identify additional parcels of land to utilize as transitional housing. So I think that's in line with what we're talking about tonight. Obviously, we haven't we're not there. We're going to talk about an item a little bit later, so I won't jump ahead. Advocate for rental assistance, advocate for a viable emergency housing program, emergency temporary housing, consider asking council to adopt a housing first policy, have a homeless liaison, and collaborate with housing program manager. And the last is accessory dwelling unit education program, which we were doing tonight as well. So I think the plan for last year, which may roll over into this coming fiscal year, I think there's some really valuable things that we can accomplish as a committee, or you guys can accomplish as a committee with me as your liaison.
Very well. And yes, I think we could definitely, it would be a huge benefit to, you know, the people in Seaside, the best way we can, you know, fine tune that work plan. And I know there's a couple areas we could do a little work on kind of to fine tune it. Did any of the commissioners have any comments on the work plan?
Our work plan probably has nothing on it about, you know, COVID challenges. If there's, I can't even imagine the challenges of trying to get the unhoused population vaccinated. I don't know if that would go on our plan, but that is something that I think, I don't know, does anybody else think we need to have something about that? Maybe not.
Well, sort of related to that, is there a typical like report done at the end of the fiscal year that kind of outlines what was accomplished and what wasn't accomplished, and then recommendations for the following year? Because that could be obviously a critical component of a report from this work plan. You know, obviously COVID impacting certain things, and then recommendations for, you know, the following fiscal year, I would think. But I don't know if that's typically done.
Could one of our standing members help us? I believe we do write a report in May, and regarding our work plan from this fiscal year, and then we start to create a draft work plan for the next fiscal year, which starts July 1st. So Dominic, I don't know if you can clarify that because there's many committees, and what the instruction is for presentations to council or for the work plans.
Yes, the work plans typically come from each of the boards and commissions and are presented to the council in the latter of the May meetings for their review. And that would be accompanied by a staff report.
Well, this is Lynda, and I would like to say, and I think I've been with the commission 2 years. We've never done what Leslie suggested, to my knowledge, and I think that would be great. You know, here's what we plan to do. Here's what we got done. Here's what needs to go to next year. And maybe that sort of happens because we look at the work plan, and when we do the new work plan, we don't move forward the things anyhow, I do like your idea, Leslie.
Thank you.
I like that idea too. I think it's very good. You know, we do set goals as a commission, but if we have, you know, just a report we do annually and just kind of have a sheet of goals and objectives, deadlines, or anticipated dates when we would like to accomplish that, and then we accomplish it, it's good to see where we're at as each year goes by. Are there any other comments from the commissioners regarding the work plan?
I just wanted to call out one thing that I saw in here. We mentioned working with the food bank, and there is a new organization called All in Monterey that actually works a lot from Seaside High School. So it's another organization we might want to partner with at some point, and I'm not really sure how all that plays out from the city perspective. I mean, it might be something to think about. I know that they've been very involved with the food bank as well. And then the other thing that I was thinking about, and I don't know if this makes any sense, just because of the presentation we just had, is there a desire for the committee to maybe organize a couple of events each year that maybe partners with some of the schools in the area too, to I don't want to maybe learn more, support. I know some of this can get pretty complicated because of lots of things, but just something to think about. I don't know if that's important or not, but given the passion we just heard from the student from from Seaside High School, it might be something worth exploring further. Just an idea.
Thank you. Are there any public comments that would like to be made concerning the work plan at this time?
Members of the public wishing to make public comment, please use the raise your hand feature or dial *9 if you're calling in from a phone. Chair, there are no members of the public wishing to make public.
Very well. So to my understanding, it might be better to, in a future meeting, fine tune the work plan and then vote to adopt it then. So I'd like, I guess, call for a motion to postpone the work plan until the next meeting. Do I hear a motion for that?
Commissioner Gwen Nash makes a motion that we postpone the work plan till our next meeting for further discussion.
Do I have a second?
I'm sorry, this is Linda. I didn't get a chance to jump in there. I thought we had to, did I get the dates confused that we need to present our next work plan the end of May? That's the end of next month, right?
Right. That's what I thought I heard too.
And I don't think our next meeting will be
Until July.
June. Is it July?
I think that's what I thought.
That's my only concern is when do we need to have this updated by? It's my only hesitancy on seconding it.
So Ben, you and I had, when we were setting the agenda, talked about having a special meeting perhaps to focus in on this work plan since we weren't able to meet, and the pandemic limited the meetings and our interactions. We have new members. I think we're all trying to, I know we are trying to get caught up and be respectful of each other, and I know we want to move forward on actual work, not just host a meeting. So that's what I wanted to bring forward, because I am here to support the commission and the hard work. So I want just put that out to you that whatever you want to do and the committee would like to do before July to meet some deadline in May.
Well, can we make a recommendation, because it states that it's adopted by July 23rd, correct? And maybe we could have what we call a special meeting to really address the work plan and then be ready to adopt it on that day? Suggestion?
I'm totally fine calling a special meeting, and I had been considering that just because there's several issues going on in Seaside right now with homelessness in our community. So I guess my only question is how soon would everybody be able to do a special meeting?
Chair Strickland?
Yes.
If I may, we may want to continue with the motion and we can do a poll for availability offline.
Very well. So I hear continuing with the motion to postpone the work plan until a special meeting or our next meeting. It would be a special meeting though.
I will second that motion. This is Lynda Cunningham.
Very well. We need a roll call vote.
Commissioner Stacy Feist.
I'm sorry, so I'm just saying I vote in favor of postponing
Yes,
for a special meeting. Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Leslie Mugen,
I'm in favor of postponing for the special meeting, yes.
Commissioner Gwen Nash,
I'm in favor.
Commissioner Lynda Cunningham,
I am in favor.
Commissioner Marilyn Mancini,
I'm in favor.
and
Yes.
Chair Benjamin Strickland.
I'm in favor.
Your motion passes unanimously.
Very well. Our next agenda item is reports from commissioners. So I have a short report to give on accessory dwelling units in Seaside. I did a little bit of research. I'm still learning about accessory dwelling units. I found out a couple things. So if you're a property owner in Seaside and you have a foundation on your property, you're allowed to build an accessory dwelling unit there. You just need a foundation and you need to get a building permit from the city. The city has pre-approved plans for accessory dwelling units, but you're also allowed to use another plan if it's acceptable by the city's requirements. I believe you can purchase water credits through the city. So if you need water in your accessory dwelling unit, you get that through the city, and that they're not deed restricted. So this is what I've learned so far for my presentation, and I just wanted to open up if any of the other commissioners had any comments or any other information they would like to give regarding accessory dwelling units in Seaside.
This is Lynda Cunningham. It was my understanding that the city was building 2 model ADUs. One from the plans, the pre-approved plans. I thought I had, maybe they had a demo about it, but anyhow, I do believe there's, maybe somebody else knows more than I know, but I do believe the city's got 2 demonstrations. Thank you. Yes, please.
If I can weigh in on that, I know a little something about it. The city was going to build a stick-built ADU and get a prefab ADU, and what we found essentially, and I'll get the numbers a little bit wrong, was that the stick-built ADU was like $500,000, and for $175,000 we can get the prefab ADU. So we ordered 2 prefab ADUs, and they're going to be sited at 956 Hillby. So those will be there by sometime this summer. We still have the plans available if someone wants to stick build one. You can get those for free, and the permitting's essentially free. And the water's free if it's deed restricted for affordability. If it's not, you get to pay for water.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Are there any other comments or information that any of the other commissioners have on ADUs?
Then I have a little information also from Ben Nurse that he released publicly, and I think it's pretty good information about our ADU permit applications from 2018 to 2021. So 73 applied, 73 of our residents applied, 36 were issued and 19 finalized. So that's a 4/12/21. So, and there's a lot of interest in our community for the prefab ADUs after the council decision about moving forward on those. So there are ADUs being constructed in our city.
That's great. Is that information listed on the city website?
I don't know, but I could find out. I can ask Ben about that.
Thank you.
Does our city manager know?
The short answer is yes, but if you ask me to find it, I wouldn't be able to at this moment in time. But it will, as we continue with the ADU program, doing a couple other things. We're presently recruiting for a communications and outreach specialist. So that person will be here soon. And thus our website will be a little bit more regularly updated. And always you can watch us on Twitter, which I recommend over Facebook.
Any other comments on ADUs? At this time, I'd like to ask for other reports from the commissioners that they would like to give to the commission.
I would just like everyone to know that Casa Noche Buena, who is the new shelter in Seaside, and we had the presentation from them last month. They are accepting applications over the phone. So wanted to make sure that information is also posted.
Thank you. Are there any other reports from the commission?
I'd like to say that I think the website looks great. I haven't been out to look at it recently, but I've got it up and I think it looks fantastic. I'm really grateful that I think we accomplished that last year. It's all such a blur, but it looks great and I'm really proud of it.
Thank you. Any other reports from the commission? Reports from staff. Chief Gutierrez, can you lead into your reports from the staff after each item? Chief, do you have anything to report to the commission?
Yeah, so item A, I did check with our finance director regarding annual funds allocated to our commission and other commissions. So our budget allocation for the fiscal year is $5,500, and these monies don't roll over. So every year it's $5,500 for now. And this isn't for us to just spend. We make recommendations to council on how we would like to spend this money. So that's the end of that report, unless there's any questions.
I guess I had a question. So it was because I looked into this the other week. We have 5,000 for line item community relations, and then 500 for our department with the homeless committee. I was just wondering what those funds would be delegated to if we, use them.
And Ben, you did, go ahead, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you. I think if I recall this correctly, we first put $500 in every commission's budget just so that we would have some money to do something. And through discussion, the council added $5,000 to the homeless committee's budget. So that's money that is available to the committee to help do work that the committee would want to do, and or provide some marginal services for homeless individuals. So all that money is below my position spending authority. So you could make a recommendation to me to spend all of it, and so long as it's an appropriate expenditure, it will be expended.
Thank you. That was my only question on that.
Could I ask a quick question? Do we know what we've used the money for in the past? Is that something we can easily find out?
Yes, we can get that we can get a report out of finance. So Chief can make a note and get that. My recollection is the committee has spent that on sort of small stuff on I think on blankets and socks that were distributed. And maybe, if my recollection holds, on vouchers for hotel stays.
Okay. Thank you.
I see in our report that we supported the funding for the Salvation Army meal distribution vehicle. I think that was like a one-time expense, and I remember last year, and maybe Marilyn can help me. We did some like small grants to the different organizations on the peninsula that help, like maybe $1,000. Were they grants, Marilyn? I can't remember if that's the right word.
You're doing wonderful, Lynda. I was trying to think, and we gave it to several. I think that we divided it up between 3 of the needy organizations. I think this new shelter with the that was just built with the gathering place for women and community human services. And then we gave, I know we gave also community human services have for teenagers, and you're talking about socks and stuff. And I remember doing that. And I can't remember what else we had done, but I know there were several of them, but they were small
and I
grants.
Think, I think we did some funding for the safe parking at one of the churches.
Yes, we did. Very good, Lynda.
Yes. But to Leslie's point, it'd be great to, well, my personal style would be to have a spreadsheet with the things listed, not just the kind of general categories, but the actual individual things would be great. But
agree. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, Chief, would we be able to move on to the item B?
Yes, and let me. Yes, we can. And I would like first, Mr. City Manager, would you like to give the update on the temporary parking at Colonel Durham?
I think I can. Sure. So the committee will recall that the city started allowing folks to park at the Roberts Lake site during the start of the pandemic in the time frame when when there was like a hard lockdown and nobody could go to parks. We were like, okay, great, park there. Then the lockdown changed a little bit and people could go to parks. So we moved the folks who were there at Roberts Lake over to the Colonel Durham site on the former Fort Ord. It was bigger. It had running water. Had some better sanitation. So it worked fairly well. We have about 30 to 35 to 45 folks out there. And the council has re-upped the timeline, because technically what we've done is we allow people to sleep in their vehicles and not have the enforcement against sleeping in your vehicle at that site. So that's been going on. The city spends a few $1,000s a month out there. There's some rules that people are supposed to abide by. Sometimes, and there's 3 hard and fast rules that if you violate, you get removed, and there's no violence, there's no going into the building, and there's no open fire. We're all safety regulations. So some people have violated those rules, and those people have been removed, asked to leave. At present, the last time the council set a deadline for the date at which the allowance to be there would end. That date is technically May 5th. Turns out there's a council meeting on May 6th. And it also turns out that the governor has expressed that there will be an opening of the state on June 15th. I don't know exactly what that is. I don't know that anyone knows exactly what that is, but we expect to know a little bit more as we get closer. I think what's going to happen on May 6th is I'm going to report to the city council that there's not much of a difference, practically speaking, between May 5th and June 15th. So maybe if the state is opening on June 15th, maybe that's the date at which this pandemic, this thing that started because of the pandemic, will end. We have been providing some services out there for folks to get connected to permanent housing. We're not meeting with a whole lot of success. There's not a whole lot of people out there who are all that interested in pursuing permanent housing, as odd as it may seem. So again, technically May 5th they have to leave, but I think that will most likely be extended to June 15th. Another thing that's happening is next week we have to start doing some work out there related to the Campus Town project. We have to start taking some soil samples. So tomorrow I'll be out there asking people to sort of move from the upper parking lot to the lower parking lot. There's a whole bunch of trash in the upper parking lot, which is its own challenge. So that's sort of where we're at. I forgot to mention that the chief arranged for a vaccine clinic right across the street, and that was well publicized to everyone there. Probably less than half of the people who were there took advantage of it, though. So, from my vantage point, the city has been providing folks safety and services, and that will have an end date, and that end date is coming up fairly soon. I can answer any questions well, I think I can answer questions if you have them.
So what happens to those folks?
Those folks, I don't know. I don't know what will happen to those folks. Those folks generally arrived from someplace other than Seaside.
Got it.
And most of the vehicles are not Seaside registered. So they came from someplace. The city has given them more than a year to be here. But we are running out of space for them. That land is under contract to be sold.
Were there any other questions on item B? I guess my question was, so it would be roughly 6 weeks maybe that they would have of notice before they would have to vacate from those premises?
I believe that's the case. Again, I'm there on a weekly basis. Interact with the folks there a fair amount. I'm the one who has to remove people when they violate those 3 special safety rules. And I'll just say this, just candidly, there are very few people who believe that they're going to have to move. they believe that the city will just keep extending the deadline. I think when the drilling truck shows up next week, they're going to understand that, as we have told them for months, actually, as we have told them for more than a year, that this is not a permanent solution. We have tried to connect them to services. I have personally helped people as they had to leave. So I'm sorry, that's a long answer to the question about, will they have 6 weeks notice? They've had months and months notice, and they generally do not take heed of it.
Can I ask another question? And maybe this has already been done, but the organizations that are on the peninsula to support folks, right, in situations and to offer services, have they been out to the site to just maybe offer their services and to talk to folks just to kind of make those connections and those relationships?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And
okay, awesome.
And there's been some very, very limited success. The truth of it is there's not really an organization or beyond Reverend Luss safe parking program here in Seaside. There's not a network of support for people who are in vehicles. There's no, to the best of my knowledge, there's no best practices for people in vehicles other than the safe parking program, which we're operating. People generally in the housing space are in the housing space, not in the people in vehicle space.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions on item B? Moving along, item C, introduction of our newly appointed city clerk, Dominique Davis. Dominique, would you like to introduce yourself to the committee?
Sure, I'm happy to. Hello, everybody. My name is Dominique Davis. I am the new city clerk with the city. And I just wanted to come on and say hello and give a face to the name and to the emails that you've seen or and will be seeing very soon. We have I have some trainings and things that will be rolling out in regards to Robert's Rules of Order and Brown Act and all of the things that are required as far as your participation as volunteers on the commission. But we just hope that, I hope that, whatever we give out is helpful and for you and for your participation on this commission. So I just wanted to come on and say hello. So thank you so much for that time, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominique. It looks like we're ready to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn this?
Ben, I think the city manager would like to say
Oh.
something.
I'm sorry, I have one more thing. It wasn't a question, so I didn't work it in just yet. But I wanted to, I didn't want to steal any of the thunder from the nice high school student who presented the information on ADUs. But the committee may not be aware that the city submitted a home key grant application where we were going to try to house somewhere between 50 and 60 people in effectively ADUs, small residences. And I'm the one who did the application, so I know a fair amount about it. And this is going to have maybe a happy ending. I don't know if it will. But what the home key program was a state program that was, and I'm just paraphrasing here, the idea of somebody to put homeless people in hotels. like turn old hotels into homeless places. And you know, I'm sure that that looked like a really good idea, you know, from far away. I'll just say this, having been homeless myself when I was a kid, I have some sensitivity to what an actual home is, and a room in a bad motel is not a home. So I looked through that application and I said, you know what, I think we could actually build ADUs. I think that those are allowable under these rules. They didn't rule those out. So based on the application, we submitted it. We were asking for about $5 million worth of state funds. And again, I'm paraphrasing this, but you know, I spent weeks, month and a half, ever so politely interacting with the folks at the state and trying to get them to agree that this was allowed under the rules. And it took some time before they finally agreed. Now, ultimately, they did agree that this was an idea that they hadn't really thought of, but it was not disallowed. So that's the good news. There's two bits of good news. That's the good news, that they finally agreed that it was allowable, and we scored enough points to be funded. That's the good news. The bad news is it took so long for them to agree that it was allowable that all the money had been given out by then. Okay, so that's the bad news. Here's another bit of maybe good news, and I don't know, but I just got, like yesterday, another thing from my friends at the Department of Housing in the state. And they're announcing that there's $50 million available to support home key projects that weren't funded. So tomorrow, I'm going to be working on seeing if they'll maybe fund this one now that we don't have to argue about whether or not it's allowable. So we'll see if that works. Again, the good news is the city council authorized that application. So I take that to mean I can resubmit it. So I'm going to, and we'll see if they come to a better answer this time. So I just wanted to, there was some talk about ADUs and whether or not the city, you know, was supporting of the idea of the high school student, and actually, yes, the answer is yes, and we tried it and we'll try it again. So thank you so much for all that you do in your volunteer service.
Thank you very much. Is there any other business at this time? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Would someone like to second that?
This is Lynda Cunningham. I will second the motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, and we'll be in touch soon.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Very nice, Ben. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.